Yo, we got the Mavic 3 here and the Air 2S, and I actually think that the Mavic 3 might be the better travel drone, at least for myself and maybe for some of you guys too. So in this video we'll find out why. I'm also curious how the dynamic range of both drones performs, so we'll do a test here. I would say let's go. That's Timmy, by the way. He also likes to fly drones. Where are you actually from? Are you from Germany or where are you?
I'm from Germany, but my roots are from Vietnam.
Half Vietnamese, half German. Vietnam is like the best of Thailand and Bali together. I love that. So let's talk about why I got the Mavic 3. There are actually the main two reasons are that it has USB-C charging and the extended battery life, because I noticed over the last year that I don't really need 3 batteries on the Air 2S, to be honest. It's usually one battery was enough to get all the shots that I really needed. Second battery was more like flying randomly around, and the third battery was never used. Also, you always have to bring a charger with you when you go on longer trips, and you don't have to do that on the Mavic 3. So I actually did not get the Fly More combo of the Mavic 3. I only got the standard version because one battery is enough. And actually, when you really calculate everything together, the Air 2S with 3 batteries and the charger, then you will actually see that it's heavier as bringing the Mavic 3 with 1 battery and just using your MacBook charger or whatever you want for USB-C charging. And that's why I would actually say that depending on how you travel and how many batteries you need, the Mavic 3 can actually be a lighter travel combo than the Air 2S. So it really depends on you, of course, like the way how I use it. The Mavic 3 with 1 battery is fine. Maybe 2 batteries in the future when I want to shoot more hyperlapses, because that's also good about the battery life. With extended battery life, you can shoot longer hyperlapses, and always found the battery life of the Air 2S for hyperlapses a bit limiting. So these are the main reasons why I got the Mavic 3. Of course, also because of the image quality, 10-bit-42, even more dynamic range is great. But I also want to test how much better the dynamic range of the Mavic 3 actually is compared to the Air 2S. I noticed that the lock profile of the Mavic 3 is a lot flatter, so it should give you more dynamic range from the sensor. Like the dynamic range that DJI tells you is in regards to raw photos, but not to the lock profile, and that's why I want to figure that out. So I would say let's wait for the sunset and see how they compare. All drones have their purpose. Auto Nano Plus for fly-throughs, the Mavic 3 for cinematics, that must be ultra nice color graded. The Air 2S for fly-throughs that need to be ultra nice color graded. Actually, the Air 2S, it is a really good drone. What you get there for the price, it's one of the best, absolutely. That's something that I really like about Chiang Mai. They always make their cafes super fancy like that here. Beautiful, love that. That's a big one. I never got such a big lime in any restaurant. Never drove a longboard before. Maybe I'm too fat. Oh.
And the small one is so much more difficult.
I have small legs, but that is too small. Sport.
Out of breath already?
Not used to skating anymore. Now skating, now it's time for the next spot. Actually a lake around Chiang Mai here where I haven't been before. Long day actually. But let's also talk a bit more about the Air 2S and the size, because actually the small size of the Air 2S is not just about travel friendliness, but it's also good for flying sometimes, because if you want to fly through gaps, it's obviously better to have a small drone. I actually like even smaller drones for that, like the original Air 2 or today the Mini 2 or the new Auto Nano 2 Plus. These drones are really good to fly through tight space, and it's not just because of the size itself, but also because they generate less wind. So if you have some walls to the side and the wind doesn't reflect and the drone shakes less, so it's easier to fly through tight spaces. So if you want to fly through tight spaces a lot, it's also probably better to get the DJI Air 2S. So, home again after a hard day of shooting outside. I just did the dynamic range test here, and I must say the difference is so clear. First expected that I have to really pixel peep it on my computer, but that's not the case. I can already see on the phone screens that there is so much more detail in the shadows on the Mavic 3 as it is on the Air 2S when I expose around the same for the sun here. So it's a clear winner, and I expect that when I review the footage on my big screens, it will be even more clear. Yeah, that's exactly it. I just had a look at the dynamic range test here on my big screen, And wow, it is better than I thought initially. But if we put money into perspective, I must still say that the DJI R2S is the better package, because what you get there for around $1,000 with a 10-bit footage, 1-inch sensor, and still a pretty decent dynamic range, it is pretty hard to beat. But I must say for myself, I make a full-time living with my video work, so I can justify paying a bit more for something like the Mavic 3, because I want the best quality, and I actually love traveling without a charger, and just one battery worked pretty fine so far, so I'm very happy with it, and it's actually more travel friendly than overall, instead of like getting the whole R2S combo with 3 batteries and the charger. So I really like that. And I would say also check out my other video here with the DJI R2S if you're more interested in that drone, but also subscribe for my channel to see what I'm doing in the future with the Mavic 3. So I hope to see you again on my channel. I'm out for today. See ya.